All right, joining us for more on this is Kate Fisher, SABC News Correspondent in Washington. Kate, the announcement by the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, on the expulsion of Ambassador Rasool has shocked many. Just share with us what Washington maintains that is at the center of this.
Yeah, I'm afraid it's a very windy day here in Washington. I can't quite hear the full question, but I can tell you that we're still awaiting confirmation as to whether the former ambassador has left Washington, D.C. or not. We understand he will be leaving on the 21st of March, which when he has been told by the Trump administration he must leave the country. Today, March the 17th, is the day that his ambassadorial privileges are removed. He is no longer an official diplomat for South Africa. He is simply a private citizen in Washington, D.C., and his diplomatic immunity has also been removed from today. Here at the embassy, things are fairly quiet. We have not been told whether or not he is inside or whether or not he intends to come back to the embassy before he leaves the country. And this was a surprise last week, the very strong language used by US Secretary of State Marco Rubio, calling him a race baiting and saying that he hated America and US President Donald Trump, which seems to be a very a selective interpretation, certainly, of what Mr. Rasool actually said during that interview.
And where you are now at the embassy, have officials been moving about their daily business, or how is it today?
Yeah, we've seen people coming and going through the doors here. There are people working. They wouldn't talk to us about this specific issue, but they know that we're here, that the SABC here is here reporting from outside the embassy here in the US Capitol, but they wouldn't be drawn on any information about Mr. Rasool's whereabouts or about what the atmosphere is like inside, because of course the people working here are trying to make inroads with the Trump administration. They are trying to repair the damage that has happened ever since Donald Trump took office. They want to improve relations with him. The US president, the South African president, saying that they needed a reset now and that this was a regrettable incident. But even before this, the South Africans have been trying to find a way to get through to the White House, to get through to the Trump administration, to try to improve the bilateral relationship, which has really never been at such a low point in recent history. So the people inside here will still be working on that, and they will have even more of a difficult job given the current situation. And of course, in Pretoria, decisions will be being made about who will come to replace Ebrahim Rasool here, who can take on that now even more difficult job of being South Africa's representative in Washington, D.C.
And I suppose forming that bridge or strengthening those relations. But there have been some who have raised concerns around President Donald Trump's departure from established diplomatic decorum or perhaps processes. What has been the sentiment, though? And this remains their view, of course. But what has been the sentiment broadly in the United States post that announcement?
I think you were talking there about the departure from diplomatic norms, and that is certainly the case, that normally an issue like this would be dealt with behind closed doors, not with a tweet by the Secretary of State on social media and using fairly harsh language. But we should remember that this is not the first time that President Donald Trump has dismissed a foreign ambassador from Washington. During his first term in office in 2019, he also declared the British ambassador at the time, Kim Darroch, persona non grata. The embassy literally just across the road from the South African embassy here in Washington, and he was given his marching orders because of a leaked cable that he'd sent back to London, in which he described described the Trump administration at the time as insecure and difficult to work with. Donald Trump did not like this and sent him back to London. So although this is not the way diplomacy is generally conducted here in the US, it is not the first time that US President Donald Trump has used this as a way to get rid of an ambassador that he personally doesn't agree with.
All right, Kim, thank you very much for that reportage. That's Kate Fisher, SABC News Correspondent in Washington, for us, bringing us the very latest post, that announcement on Friday of the expulsion of Ambassador Ebrahim Rasool.